Actually, when I was in Vietnam, that first trip, um, we were walking in a group, and then random people will just come and pull me out to take pictures. And you know, there's a language barrier, so they can't say that they want to take pictures, but they want to take a picture with me. They'll just yeah, and
like
it was
I'll have that one.
yeah, exactly.
Sharon, how are you today?
I'm good. A little under the weather. I'm sure you can hear.
Are you one of those Ghanaians who, like, the weather changes by, like, if it falls 2 degrees, your whole body goes off?
Not at all, but
Not at all.
no. I think this one of my nephews gave me something. You know, the kids are always bringing gems home from school.
Yeah,
so-
let's blame it on the kids. Let's pretend it is the kids, not your immune system.
Not my
or-
immune, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sharon, this has been so many years. When was the last time we actually met?
I think probably like 10 years
10 years
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
My goodness.
10,
So
11,
for
maybe.
context, the last time I met you, or the last time I saw you, you were on your way somewhere.
I was.
You were leaving Africa. Tell me, why and where were you heading to?
I was pursuing higher education.
Okay. And where were you pursuing
So
this?
I went to Singapore.
Okay.
I studied at Yale-NUS College. Funny
Fancy.
thing. So this is a small liberal arts college that was formed between Yale University in the US and the National University of Singapore. So that's NUS. But actually, my school is no longer in existence. They closed it down this year.
Talk to me. Do you still go around saying, you know, I'm an Ivy graduate and and I am important in life?
So I think I kind of knew what was coming because they announced it a while ago.
Okay.
So the smart thing, I got a master's from NUS, which is still in existence. So at least if you wiped away my bachelor's, my master's is
Your
still
master's
there.
still holds.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your master's in?
So I have a master's in public health.
Okay.
Yes.
Of all the possible futures you could pursue, why public health in particular?
I've always been fascinated with like healthcare and health. And growing up in Ghana, I think public health is a relatively new field. It's quite young. Not many people are aware of it, but I think it was thrown into the spotlight because of COVID. But growing up in Ghana, I wasn't really aware of like the field of public health. So I always thought my entrance into the healthcare space will be through medicine. So my whole life, I thought I was going to be a doctor. And here I am now, a field doctor.
Okay.
No, but in college, I took public health courses as part of my degree. And I fell in love. I knew it just made sense to me. I realized that a lot of the reasons for which I wanted to go into medicine were actually more aligned with public health, which is the population level impact, changing policy, conducting research, evidence-based research to inform programs and policies. So it just fits with everything that I wanted to do in the medical space, and so I realized it was more public health for me than medicine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk to a lot of young Africans, maybe there's this idea that there are four professions, right? You either become a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, or a failure, right?
So I'm in the fourth category.
No. You are still within the medical.
Okay.
So was it your own voice that chose this medical kind of path, or was this your parents saying, this is what I dream of for my daughter?
I guess it's hard to pass, like, nature, like, we are shaped by our environment, right? What's the expectation of society? I was very good at science growing up. I loved the sciences. So I guess naturally, if you're good at science, the only thing we know for you to do is medicine, right? And so But also, I think growing up, well, I'm quite talkative. I don't know if you know, but I am quite talkative. So because if you talk a lot, they think you're going to be a lawyer,
Okay,
right?
okay, okay.
So it was between those two, either be a lawyer or a doctor. But because I love the sciences more, I chose
You
that path
chose.
for myself. But I'm sure my parents also kind of like fed into that. I
Okay,
won't be
okay.
surprised. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this thing where we almost try to analyze you, right?
Okay.
You are the daughter of a pastor,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
I wonder where this is
I
going.
know, I know. I'm also wondering where it's going. But they use this thing like if you grow up, or I remember growing up, like the kids of the pastors were almost the antithesis of what their parents were. Like they were like, "Oh, I shall not follow the journey of my father," or it's
They go the complete
yes, like
opposite.
I am just
Yeah.
going to be as rebellious. Were you
Definitely
that
there's
child?
no, actually no.
Uh-huh. How was your? There was no pressure for you to be like, I need to be the example of the words of my father.
No, I my parents didn't put that weight on us.
Okay.
We went to church with them, but I don't think there was the expect. I think maybe they carried themselves well,
Hmm.
where um we didn't see them and not want to be like them. And so
Oh.
I think a lot of times because sometimes there's too high of an expectation placed
Mhm.
on preachers' kids, because you have to act a certain way for the family image, I guess.
Okay.
Um, I never got that sense from my parents. Yeah. And
Mm.
I think naturally I'm also not a rebellious person in
Mhm.
yeah, I would say I'm not in the negative sense. Like
Okay.
maybe rebellion when it's good,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not just a naturally rebellious person, which is why Singapore is good for me. Like I really like Singapore because there are good laws, people
Mhm.
follow the laws and obey the laws. Everything is, done well.
Okay.
But yeah, I no, I was a if I can say, I think I was a good child. I think
Yeah,
my
good.
parents were happy.
And this is independently verifiable. This is not
Yes,
you.
yes, you can check.
People.
I can't speak for my brothers. They went a different
Okay.
different path, but they
But
found their way back.
before they way back, but
Yes.
you can. There are
I think
people
I
who,
stayed the path.
if
Yeah.
we go to our comment section, people will be like, "Yeah, I have known her, and she's always been this way. This is not a
Yes,
cleaning up
yes, yes.
campaign."
Yeah, I think so. Yes,
Okay, okay.
yes.
So now
Just don't interview my tree teacher in
okay, in
JSS.
Jesus.
No, no.
Actually, let's start there then. You when you look at people who are trying to pursue certain ambitions within our continent, there's a
Okay.
lot of desire to go to the West, right? So
Mhm.
I'm referring to either Europe,
Mhm.
North America, and whatnot.
Mhm.
But you went to Asia,
Mhm.
all right? So the first thing I want you to tell me, what were your expectations? What did you meet, and
Mhm.
why there?
Hmm. Good question. I think so.
Mhm.
Like I said, I'm not rebellious, but I'm also a little. I like to a bit unconventional. I don't like to just follow the crowd. So, like you mentioned, everyone's dream was to go to the UK, Europe, or the US. Um, for me, I wasn't so keen on the US
Why?
because I
Why?
I knew I wanted to do medicine,
Okay.
and going to the US, you have to do 4 years of undergrad before you go to med school,
Oh.
and so that was very long. And so, if anything, I would have done like a European pathway, which is straight to med school and probably like 5-6 years, which mirrors that's what happens here in Ghana. So for me, it was between med school here in Ghana. There was one in Europe, but it was too far. So none
Mhm.
of my friends were going. So obviously I wasn't
Okay.
going to go there.
Uh-huh.
And then the school in Singapore. Uh, so the because it was a new school, I was the second batch ever. And actually, when
And
they
the moment you
started,
graduated, they closed it.
no, 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 no.
Uh,
It took 7 years before they closed it.
okay,
I
okay,
know I look young, but
okay.
I'm not that young.
You're not that young. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay, okay. We don't reveal the ages
Wait,
here
okay.
because we do not know who.
No, but I aged myself. I said, okay, but never mind.
Yeah, actually, you did. So it's been 10 years. You left. 7 years later, the university closes.
Yeah.
You have a master's degree. How long was your master's?
3 years ago.
3 years?
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so when I first went to the school, because it's small, they didn't even have a campus. They flew us, like all admitted students, for a weekend in Singapore.
Wow.
So for 3 days, I was there.
And is this you paying or is
No,
it?
they paid for it. You know, they really, because we were the first few years, like batches, they really spent a lot of money on us. It was very good. I'm glad I was a guinea pig.
You are the young people who talk about the good old days, right?
Exactly. Gone are the days. Because the younger ones that came didn't get as much opportunity as I mean, they got some opportunities, but not as much travel opportunities that like we did, because the money was running out. I guess.
Let's interrupt it. Which countries did you go to?
On my school's money.
Yes.
So the first one was Singapore when they flew me there.
And this is your first time in Asia?
This was my first time in Asia.
Wow.
First time.
How many hours from Ghana?
It's about 7 hours from. I flew. Did I fly? I think they flew Emirates. I can't remember. So I flew. It was 7 hours from Accra to Dubai, and then about another 7 hours from Dubai to Singapore. Yeah.
Wow. So you land, right?
Yes.
Because I mean, there are these things like, guess whenever I think of Singapore, I think like it's a small village where it's like you can walk from one side to the other, and so there is this narrative. You alluded earlier to this idea that they have good laws, they work. For me, in my twisted brain, I always say, if your entire country was a village, you can run it. So, but you so tell me, what perception do you have when you land? Is this massive space or is a small space, and how does that shift you?
Oh, so Singapore is a big city.
Okay.
So the capital of Singapore is Singapore. So it is
So it's a
too
city,
small, city state. Yeah.
Okay.
About 6 million
Wow.
population, and you can't walk from one end to the other. You can, I guess, but it will take you probably a day plus. But I actually did night cycling where we rode from the east to the west when I was there. But getting to Singapore, I think it was so different from Accra. Like it's very developed, good roads. It's like they also have, the city is like a garden, so there are lots of like plants and trees around. So it's a very beautiful place. Lots of skyscrapers. The most skyscrapers I've ever seen in my life.
Wow. So your neck is messed up because you're just
Exactly.
staring up.
Exactly. Yeah, having to look up all the time. About the first time I got there, I think I was too jet lagged to take it in.
Okay.
Yes, because
14 hours.
14 hours, and Singapore is 8 hours ahead. So during the day, I was asleep. I was sleepy most of the time, and then I was awake at night. And here was that doesn't make for a good experience when you're trying to see what the school is about, because most of the presentations, most of the places they are taking you around, you're too tired and too sleepy to enjoy. So actually, when I first went for the first couple of days, I was like, oh no, I'm not coming here. It's too experimental for me. But the final day, I think, there was a presentation on international and professional experiences, and it was talking about you could do like language immersion programs and basically like learning trips where outside of even what you are studying. And because I had a lot of interest beyond just medicine, I thought it was a good opportunity for me to explore those, because I could always go back to med school after, but I would never have that experience again. So which it was what convinced me to go to the school, actually. Yeah.
Wow. And then so do you take advantage of going to different Asian countries?
I did.
Tell me how Asia is different from Africa, or whether it's same.
So the first, they flew us again. Like I said in the beginning, they had money and they wanted to spend on us.
Okay.
Maybe that's why the school closed down.
Or
Maybe they spend
maybe
all the money
they're
on
like,
us early
"Listen,
on.
there was somebody there.
And
People are
there
looking
was
back like maybe we turn this into like an entire vacation for 7 years.
exactly, and then it just ran out.
Mhm,
So, but they flew us to different Asian countries.
mhm,
I think part of it is there's, let's say, about like a 40% international student body coming into Singapore, but we're on Singapore ground, right? TIFF.
mhm.
So they wanted to take all of us out, including the Singaporeans. So it kind of levels like we are in a new environment. Everyone's in a new environment and then gets to bond. So that was the idea behind the orientation trip. So they flew some of us to, I think, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. So my group went to Vietnam,
Oh,
and Vietnam felt like home. So
mm,
it reminded me a lot more of Ghana in
okay.
Accra. It wasn't as developed as Singapore, and so it felt comfortable.
Wait. Are you saying that whenever you go to places which are like, this is depleted,
No,
this feels familiar, this, mm.
yes, it felt
Sorry.
familiar because being in, in a very foreign environment. I think I
Mhm.
was overwhelmed. I didn't realize
Okay.
it until I got to Vietnam, and I felt myself breathe a little
You're like,
easy.
okay, this is, so when you get to Vietnam and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, these unpainted walls, these incomplete buildings, you know what, these open gutters, this,
It feels
this
like
is
home.
comfortable.
The sand by the roadside. In
Yes.
Singapore, you don't find like sand by the roadside.
You know what, Sharon? I think we underestimate. First of all, I really apologize because we are here busy trying to burst the beats, and then we are like, no, actually, but I will say this: whenever you go to spaces which are overly curated,
Mm-hmm.
overly polished,
Mm-hmm.
it starts to feel like this is not real. One of the things I love about our spaces on the
Uh-huh.
continent is the textures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go to Kumasi, for example,
Mm-hmm.
like some buildings, like people don't clean the paint before they, so like it's just no, we started with blue, no, now we go to black, then we go to yellow, and so the wall is so textured, like when the paint starts to come off, and those things, they do something to a city or to a country. Whereas you go to these places which is all glass, or the roads are
Very
all,
polished.
so
Yeah.
maybe I can see why Vietnam feels,
Feels like home.
but also people maybe are friendlier,
Yeah,
people are
yes.
warmer.
I think
So it's
another
more the people
thing,
than the landscape.
I think
Both.
both, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think people in Vietnam were also friendlier than in Singapore. Not to say Singaporeans are not friendly, they are, but they tend to keep to themselves a lot
Okay.
more.
Is
I think also
oh,
the Western influences. And so, Western culture is a bit more individualistic. And so I think that has
tell me
kind
about
of.
that. Tell me about that because I think when I sit and I talk to other people, we tend to have this almost perfect idea of how the West looks like
Mm-hmm,
because maybe of the content that we consume.
mm-hmm,
But you're saying that it's when you go out that you start realizing that these things that you take for granted
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
are actually important. So what do you mean by this individualism versus communalism? Oh, sorry, uh,
Collectivistic,
yeah, I
like
should not say
yeah,
communism, but
no.
no, I should say collectivist.
Definitely not
no,
communism. No, don't go there.
that's
Yeah.
another country, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Uh so I think so actually one of the things I did have a culture shock going to Singapore,
uh-huh,
but also part of it also felt familiar because Asian and African cultures are also similar in that they value family, obligation to family, and respect for the elderly. And so that felt familiar,
okay,
yes.
okay.
And so that felt nice
That's right.
compared to like the West, right? In America. So usually it's the focus of the family is on the nuclear family
Mm-hmm,
in European cultures, American culture,
mm-hmm.
whereas in Asian cultures is in African cultures, the extended family is one big unit.
You know what?
I mean, we are
Well,
warring things within our own
you know,
families. We have problems, but
yeah, I wanted to because some people complain about this concept of the black tax, right? Like,
mhm.
no matter how far you go in life, they say that uneducated kid in the village whose school fees you owe,
Yeah,
right? So,
everything.
so is this? So there is something beautiful about this.
Yeah.
having the whole family as one.
Right.
But then also there is a cost to
There
that,
is
right?
definitely.
Have you paid that cost of having to support aunties' kids?
Oh,
Okay, let's
to
open
some,
it out
yeah.
there. Like, so this is what you went.
No. I mean, part of it is like you also recognize it takes a village, right?
Mhm.
And so I know some of my aunties and like uncles were instrumental in like bringing us up, like
Okay.
supporting our family. So it doesn't feel. You also
It
feel
does
a
not
sense of
feel like
responsibility,
it doesn't feel like a
gratitude.
burden
Yes,
because you recognize that had it not be for this entire
yes,
village, I
yes.
will not be where I am.
Exactly.
So now,
Although people do take advantage, of
okay.
course, and that kind of feels
Oh
uncomfortable.
wow.
But yeah.
Okay, now let me ask you. So in other spaces, right? Like
Mhm.
if and I keep going back to the West, I'll leave it. This is my last question on that.
Mhm.
Because of historical reasons, they
Mhm.
are familiar with people who are of the melanin persuasion, such
Mhm.
as yourself, okay? Dark African children, right? But in Asia, not so much so. In the sense that at least a lot of Africans were not moving to Asia.
True.
Maybe 10 years ago when you're moving there, maybe things have changed.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
what is your experience of being a black woman in Singapore
In
and in
Singapore
Vietnam?
and in Vietnam. Actually, when I was in Vietnam,
Hmm.
that first trip,
Uh-huh.
um, we were walking in a group, and then random people will just come and pull me out to take pictures. And you know, there's a language barrier, so
Wow.
they can't say that they want to take pictures, but they want to take a picture
So
with me.
they'll just
They'll just, yeah, and
like,
it
no,
was,
I'll have that one. Uh-huh.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, which it felt very like, I felt very objectified. Like
and
it,
are they the people who you're with from the 40 nations? Are they which countries are they coming from?
mostly Asian countries.
Okay,
So a
so
lot of them were
when they're looking at
Singaporean,
you, they're
from the
like, "Oh, don't
Philippines.
worry, have your own. We've already consumed our blackness. So it's yeah."
I think because they have more exposure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Vietnam now has more. I think if you go to Vietnam now, so I went to Vietnam last year actually. So it was like 10 years apart. Yeah,
Wow.
I went to
Could you see
Vietnam
the
again.
difference?
Yes, the response, there are more black people.
Okay. So
It's
you were
just me
opening
walking on the
doors. You
street.
were
It's
opening
a
doors. You were like,
what's that?
I'll be going to
Yes, I blazed the
you
trail.
blaze a trail.
I went there and I
But
made
there's
things
an
easier
interesting
for others
connection
to
between you
come.
and Vietnam. Because your first president, okay,
Hmm.
Kwame Nkrumah, he
Hmm.
actually gets overthrown because he's going to Asia to negotiate
Uh-huh.
the end of the Vietnam War.
Right.
And then many years later, you have this black child going and
Uh-huh.
opening new doors for black people. So we are in Vietnam.
Hmm.
People are pulling you from the line.
Yes.
You are representing an entire continent. How awkward is that when people are taking pictures of you without your consent?
It was very uncomfortable. I
Okay.
know I was quite annoyed, and also annoyed because my friends will be like, "Oh, just go
Uh-huh.
and take the picture."
Okay.
I felt like a monkey.
Oh.
Yeah, but like a zoo animal. But I think over time, actually, funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll circle back to that story again, but when I was taking my graduation pictures for my master's,
Mm-hmm.
there was this whole delegation of I think Chinese high school students from China
Okay.
with their teachers, and they saw one of my friends was kind enough to take the photographs for me, and then they approached me, and then they said they asked if they could take
Mm-hmm.
pictures with me. So one, like, I stood patient. I was like, sure, of course. And one by one, the group was quite big. I think it was like 30 people.
Wow.
So one by one, I stood there. I thought maybe just like a couple people would come, but like I was
Wow.
standing there, and I think about like 10, 15 people came for like individual pictures.
No,
Yes,
no group. Like I
not group.
went, I
And
have
then
met.
at the end of it, the whole group came, and then we
Wow.
took a picture together. So I think over time, I got used to it. It's just like they haven't seen
But I can imagine there's
someone.
somebody watching you from the back, like, who is that girl? She must be a celebrity that we do not know of. Or wow.
Which reminds me, one of my friends, my colleagues,
Okay.
she's from China. She said, she asked me if I would go with her to her village in China. She was like, if I went with her, we could pretend I am, let's say, Obama's daughter, and
Wow.
then take pictures in the mall and then make money.
Oh my. Well, that would have been a good hustle, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
especially
Yeah.
when you're a student and you need that money, like, yeah, let's go
If
get some.
public health doesn't work, I know where to go. But
Okay.
I think surely, by now they probably know the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
difference. They will be able to tell. No.
I think there were a billion people. I'm sure some of them like Mama who or like you know what? Many years prior to you doing that, I also did part of my degree in China. Had a similar experience
Okay.
in the sense that I went with these Caucasians who were
Okay.
my classmates at the
Yeah.
time.
Politically correct. Yeah.
Politically correct. And it was just like it's not the China of today, right? Like just
Mm-hmm,
the way it was
mm-hmm.
not the Vietnam of today.
Yeah.
And it was just a mind, how do I put it? So okay. Um even with the if you talk to the Chinese, you're like, what's your name? They're like, oh, my name is Fred, or like they all adopted English names, I
English.
guess, first of all, at
Mm-hmm.
the time. And the thing is, they'll come, they'll touch your hair, and then you feel objectified. But then at some point, like you're like, okay, maybe they have never. I just have to be the
Right.
black
Right.
ambassador, and I'm sure I am hanging some Chinese home. Like, this is my black friend,
Blown up
blown
like a
up.
whole
And then
big
at some
picture.
point, you start driving, and you're like, I'm important. And it's partially because you are a big guy, you're
Uh-huh.
probably the tallest person in every given locality you go to.
Uh-huh.
So you stand out. But one particular day, I'm like, okay, the attention I'm getting, which I'm now getting used to, this is a bit,
Is a lot.
this is, what have I done today? And then I look behind me
Mm-hmm.
and there's this big poster with
Okay.
Ghanaian children. I can tell
Come
because
on, how can you tell they were Ghanaian children?
I'm sorry to say this, but
Uh-huh.
it is one of the few countries in the world I know where everybody wears the same uniform, right? So it was that, was it the burnt orange shirt and then the
Oh,
brown?
the kokonte and
It's called Kokonte.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay, that one.
Wait, you don't wear that in Kenya,
No, in Kenya, I think every school has their own uniform.
but you don't have like the brown and
No,
the
no,
or.
I would say you Ghanaians have
No,
colonized brown.
I would say it's Nigeria.
You say,
Maybe.
okay. But Kenya is interesting because I think in part because of our colonial history, like we wear like people wear ties, you have a sweater in the morning because it's
Oh,
cold.
okay.
Not these 29 degrees where you people get a
Oh yeah,
cold.
you guys have
Yeah.
nice weather. Yeah.
So and then on the poster it was written, AIDS is real. Protect
Mm,
yourself.
mm.
And so here I was, almost like the physical manifestation of AIDS. And I was like, oh my God. And those stereotypes at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I think that becomes a good point for us to transition to your aspirations. When I met you after 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
I remember you telling me that I'm between jobs.
I
Do you
am.
remember what
Yeah.
I told you?
Yes. So I
Uh-huh.
told Kamau, he asked me, what am I doing currently? And I said, oh, I'm in between jobs. And he was like, oh, basically, you're unemployed.
Has the status
Basically, yeah.
which sounds a bit harsh, so I want to apologize for that.
Oh, no, it's the truth.
You're in pursuit of
I
opportunities.
am in pursuit, active pursuit of
Active pursuit.
opportunities.
So
Yeah.
and which areas, let's put good vibes out there. Which areas, which countries are you interested in working
Within the region. So
within the continent, within
within the
the
continent. Yeah. So Ghana, like something. Yeah, Ghana, something within the continent, also maybe Europe,
okay,
but with work that focuses on the continent.
on the
Yeah.
continent. Okay. The reason I'm saying I want to ask about my next question is, the first thing I want to know is, what does it mean to be young, black, and a woman in the times that we are in? What are your apprehensions, your fears, your aspirations? Because everybody talks about the youth,
Okay.
or on behalf of the youth. And seldom do we hear the youth actually articulating their own aspirations outside of TikTok and Instagram, where you people exist. What does it mean to be a young person right now on the continent?
In Africa,
Yes.
well, a lot of the population is young here.
Okay. Okay.
um, I don't know if I've sat down to really think about what it means to be a young person in Africa, but I do know, I think from my experiences going abroad, and I mean, having the role of like ambassador thrust upon you, you have to represent uh, your country and your continent, even if you didn't set out to. I think there's a responsibility um, that we have to, or that I have to succeed, so that the continent also succeeds. Because I
Okay.
think if we are successful, the continent also, and then like invest back into the continent. So, which is actually why I moved from
From
Singapore back to
because just to get
Ghana.
this right, you had a job in Singapore, you were researching, you were earning.
I did.
So tell me the first thing is you talked about going and all the shocks that come in being in Livonia. Were there any reentry shocks? And what about your continent dragged you back or you wanted to come voluntarily? Because some people look at you like, Sharon, man, you escaped.
I
You
I
are
got out.
crazy. You got out, man. Like
And then I
a lot of
came
people are.
back.
So what is it about the continent that was calling you, and
Uh-huh.
why are you excited and have you
Mhm.
chosen to stay here and
Mhm.
explore whatever it is that the continent has to offer?
Mhm. Whew. Um. Well, so in Singapore, I was doing research in HIV, tuberculosis. I did some other things, but a lot of it was HIV, sexual health, tuberculosis, and the burden of those diseases in the continent, right, of Africa. And like Singapore, obviously, wherever you are, there's always room for improvement in health. You can never achieve like perfect health. There's always room for improvement, and making a difference to one life is, is still a big enough. It's very impactful. It's a good thing, right? But the burden of those diseases being here, and I'll give you a bit of history. So I think HIV the first HIV case in Singapore was recorded in the 1980s. And since then till now, they've had fewer than 10,000 cases in total, the whole HIV epidemic in Singapore. And compared to here, where like in Southern Africa, there are millions of people who are living with HIV, hundreds of thousands of people in Ghana here living with HIV. And so the bulk of the work is happening here, work that actually moves the needle in like global impact of HIV. And I am interested in global health. Global health seeks to serve the marginalized, the disenfranchised, the underserved. And I won't find that in those opportunities in Singapore. And so, which is why I came back. And also, again, like I mentioned, there is a responsibility to, when you see other countries and where they've reached, part of it is the investment, people investing back into their countries, like applying skills and experience to improve. And that's always been the dream for me. Ghana makes it a bit harder because sometimes the policies and the infrastructure doesn't make it easy to, live here and work here. But that's one of my driving motivations. Yeah. So that's why I moved back primarily. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And you alluded to South Africa, and I remember there was a time when in and even Zimbabwe, you hear some places where people had become, preachers had become full-time funeral preachers because people were just dying by
Dying.
the.
Yeah.
And then now, because of the cutting of USAID and the antivirals, there are a lot of people now who have to either choose, do I buy medicine to kind of extend my life or do I support my family?
Right.
So
Right.
it's quite a critical time in
Right.
your field right now. So
Right.
in that regard, what are you afraid of for your field? Because if you look everywhere, the WHO budget is being cut. A lot of health budgets are being cut. At least when it comes to the continent where we're getting foreign aid. So what is your message to at least the policymakers in our continent who might say, you know what, there are other things that we need to focus on, and maybe public health is not at the forefront of our considerations right now?
What would I say? I think this is a message that all leaders in like the health space will say. Definitely increase like funding for one, preventative health, and investing in like healthcare infrastructure. Um, if we are not healthy, we won't be productive. The economy will not thrive, and so our health cuts, like, it affects everything. And so I think that funding is very important. That investment in our like infrastructure and investing in ourselves.
But you know what, Sharon? I'll pose it this to you.
Okay.
You come and you tell us invest, invest, invest. And then I'm sitting there in the Ministry of Health in Kenya, Ghana, Zimbabwe. Then when I develop and I pour my resources to you, the moment you get those degrees, you're out of the country. So it's as if I am almost, if you look at the UK and you look at the nurses and you look at the doctors, a lot of them are coming from West Africa. So why should I invest for people who will eventually end up abandoning the continent? Kind of this brain gain versus brain drain for you.
Actually, but here I am, right?
Here you are.
I
Okay.
went and
You are
so
there.
there are people like speaking to friends. I know there are people who would love to move back. So even beyond investing in healthcare infrastructure, I think just investing in general infrastructure, like the roads, schools, making life easier here for the
But you
average
people are not,
Ghanaian.
when you people are outside, you're not paying taxes here to help us develop those things.
When we are outside,
Yeah.
we don't pay taxes.
Here.
When we come back, we pay the COVID levy and
The
the
COVID,
NHI.
okay. Okay.
But I mean,
The remittances are quite significant.
that sure, yeah, that's true. But a lot of people are leaving now because things are just terrible here, right? They feel, let me correct, right? They feel things are bad here, like the opportunities, like the environment in which doctors and nurses working. Like you go to hospitals and we have like the lights are out. They don't have certain life-saving medical equipment and things like that. That's not an environment in which people feel they can like work comfortably in, right? There's always like lots of challenges, which if we just invested into the system, even our MPs themselves, when they have to undergo certain like life change, like surgeries and things like that, they go abroad for these procedures, right? They don't they don't do them
Does
here.
that break your heart that we just had the Nigerian former President Buhari, may he rest in peace, that he
Passed away.
he passed away, and it was in London, and so people are. Does it break your heart that we have the capabilities, we have the professions, and yet
Very much every day.
every day?
Yes, it's so sad because there's only so much you can do. As like, there's only so much that individuals within the private sector can do to change the country. But if policies and a lot of money, like the government really changes a lot of things, I think that there's a lot of opportunity here for the country to
There's a lot
thrive
of
and do well. Yeah.
Your generation is quite fascinating. I find that the patience other generations had, you people don't have it. You guys are, and when I look around, I'm amazed at how beyond the material, you guys are holding people in whatever forum that you're in. You're holding people accountable. You're holding yourselves accountable. So, what is it about you young folk who are just, maybe there's an impatience there, but there's also a vibrance that other generations might not? Because I look at Kenya and what the Gen Zs are doing. I look at the space in Ghana and how people are shifting culture, shifting. What is it about your generation that is so energized and so desirous of a transformed present?
I'm going to age myself again. I would like to take credit, but I think it's more characteristic of the Gen Zs, right? I think they are really conscious of like the systems and the expectations, like things that don't work, and they are really saying, this doesn't work for us. We are going to change things. We are going to speak about. I think millennials, we are just, yeah, yeah, in between. We are just chill. But
with Gen Zs, there's an impatience there that is admirable.
But I'm very close to the Gen Zs, like, in terms of age.
you
So maybe if I can speak for them.
Okay, so you speak both languages. Okay, so Sharon, now let's kind of wrap up and essentially you are working on a number of projects right now. What is it out there that if I was to look at this and say, okay, I want to collaborate with Sharon, how can we get to you? How can we collaborate? And which spaces excite you in terms of where you want your impact to be most felt?
I thought you were gonna ask for like my YouTube channel.
Yeah, like you're an influencer.
Follow me
what is
on
your
Insta.
hashtag?
I was wondering
you
why.
know how you realize you're old when there's a generation that goes and says, "Oh, what's your phone number?" Right? What's your handle? Right?
Yes.
So how can we work with? There is somebody there watching, for example. It could be at a foundation or what are your contributions to whatever space that you would end up in, or what opportunities do you want to be part of in the healthcare space?
Good question. I think so I'm currently in talks with like one foundation. We are trying to see if there's any like employment opportunities there for me. And what they do is they have a mobile van clinic, and then they take healthcare to people in rural communities in Ghana. They are hoping to expand. And so it's work that's very interesting to me. It's something that I would love to partner with them on. And so opportunities that sit in that area as well. I think my background is in research. So like research programs, like analyst roles in terms of like strategy, in terms of implementing certain health programs, or development also, because again, health, I'm interested, like health education, development, poverty, things like that. Those are quite interlinked. And so things that sit within that space.
No, I am happy because I have known you for more than 15, maybe longer years. Oh my God.
Is it longer?
Time. Maybe longer.
No, I think no. I think 15.
No,
Yeah,
we should just cut it a bit. Like I am, but not that.
Yeah, when I was a toddler.
When I remember. But one of the things I can say about you is you're a good person.
Oh.
You put in the hours. You don't take shortcuts, and I can't wait to see what comes next for you and how your journey unfolds.
Oh, thank you so much.
I thank you for giving us your time.
No, thanks for having me.
I know. You're always welcome. Anytime you have anything to say,
okay,
you have a platform.
About anything at all?
Well, apart from selling skin oil.
Okay, no.
Anything.
That is not my calling.
That's not your calling.
No.
Yeah, no. But I think it would be wonderful for us to find whether there's a space for you in the Voices of a Continent.
Okay.
I'm sure you could come in different capacities, but I think you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear it.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed this is my second time as a guest on a podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is not my first podcast.
Oh, wow. I thought
this was my first experience. It's special. This is the first.
This is a wonderful way to finish.
One that's caught on camera.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I had a good time.
You had a good time.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least I wasn't as nervous as my first time.
Okay. I will say this. We thought that we were very important in your life.
You are
We've just discovered that we are just one of many, and
you are top 2, but number 2.
Sharon, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamau. Thank you.